Yes, wonderful. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita Study Circle, and we are in 109th session of the Bhagavad Gita Study Circle. So, we have started chapter 10. We have already discussed a few verses in chapter 10 until verse number 11. And today, after this first set of 11 verses where Krishna has spoken, now it's been quite some time that Krishna is been speaking, and it's time for Arjuna to ask questions, and not just ask questions, but there is something more Arjuna is expressing in today's session. But before we actually begin the session, let's begin with the pranam mantras. You can all chant along with me the pranam mantras. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. Hare Krishna. So, we have discussed very nice verses in chapter 10, and in the previous verse, before we go that, let's dedicate this session to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON and my beloved spiritual master. So, in the previous verse, it's not just previous verse, actually it is a set of 4 verses which is called the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. The 4 verses, that is 8, 9, 10, 11 are the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. And in the previous verse, Krishna had showed, he had told, Tesham evanukampartam aham ajnana jam tamaha nashasyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhashvataha. So he said that I show them special mercy, who, all those who are great devotees, who are constantly thinking of Krishna, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Shining lamp of knowledge, the darkness born of ignorance. So, very interestingly, now what has happened is Krishna has spoken all that he has to speak about himself, his vibhutis, that is his opulences. And after speaking all this, now Krishna has given a pause. Krishna has stopped speaking because he has explained so many things to Arjuna, and now it's Arjuna's turn to reflect back and to see that whether Arjuna has understood or not. Of course, he has understood everything, but now he wants to give a pause so that Arjuna speaks of all that he has heard. He wants to understand from Arjuna what he understands of the knowledge that he has already spoken, that Krishna has already spoken. Now it's Arjuna's time to speak, and there are few verses that is 12 to 18 which we are going to cover today. We have a long discussion today, so we will have to discuss all these beautiful shlokas that Arjuna is speaking. So today, this whole set of Arjuna's speech, we will try to understand. It's very, very beautiful. So let's go to the next verse. So Dev, you can unmute yourself. We will chant the verse number 12. So very special. So Krishna has stopped speaking and now Arjuna is speaking. So let's see what Arjuna has to say. So Dev, you can unmute yourself. Arjuna uvacha.
Arjuna uvacha.
Param Brahma Param Dhama.
Param Brahma Param Dhama.
Pavitram Paramam Bhavan.
Pavitram Paramam Bhavan.
Purusham Shashvatam Divyam.
Purusham Shashvatam Divyam.
Adidevam Majam Vibhum.
Adidevam Majam Vibhum.
Wonderful. Once again. Arjuna uvacha.
Arjuna uvacha.
Param Brahma Param Dhama.
Param Brahma Param Dhama.
Pavitram Paramam Bhavan.
Pavitram Paramam Bhavan.
Purusham Shashvatam Divyam.
Purusham Shashvatam Divyam.
Adidevam Majam Vibhum.
आदिदेवं मजं विभुम्
Wonderful. We will also chant the next verse, that is verse number 13. Ahustvam rishayas sarve
आहुस्त्वां ऋषय सर्वे
devarshirnaradastata
देवर्षिर्नारदस्तथा
asito devalo vyasaha
असितो देवलो व्यासः
स्वयं चैव ब्रविष्यमे.
स्वयं चैव ब्रविष्यमे
Once again, ahustvam rishayas sarve
आहुस्त्वां ऋषये सर्वे
devarshirnaradastata
देवर्षिर्नारदस्तथा
असito devalo vyasaha
असितो देवलो व्यासः
स्वयं चैव ब्रविष्यमे.
स्वयं चैव ब्रविष्यमे.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages, such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa, confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So wonderful. Very nice. So it's very interesting now. After Krishna has spoken the Chatur Shloki Gita, Krishna has brought the discussion to a pause, a very important threshold. He has stopped the discussion at a very, very important threshold. Very important to know what is Arjuna's understanding here. Very important. Now, Arjuna is here sharing his heartfelt realizations. Very, very special, not ordinary. What is he sharing here? He is sharing his heartfelt realizations. Very important because all that knowledge that he has heard, so much he's been hearing from Krishna all the time. A lot of knowledge is there. Now he has developed a lot of faith in Krishna. After hearing so much, he has developed a faith in Krishna, a very strong faith in Krishna. And this is what happens to all of us. When we hear the Bhagavad Gita, which are the words spoken from Krishna himself, when we constantly discuss these wonderful transcendental words of Krishna, what happens in our heart is we start developing faith in Krishna. So when you hear Bhagavad Gita again and again and again, our faith in Krishna increases more and more and more. So Arjuna's faith is not blind faith. So whatever we have discussed until now, you see that Krishna has very scientifically spoken about the body, the soul, about karma, about the different types of energies, the material energy, the spiritual energies. So if you analyze all these different things, you see Krishna has spoken very scientifically. And Prabhupada also says that this Krishna conscious moment is a scientific process. So it is not a process which is simply understood out of blind faith. There is no scope of blind faith or some sort of what people say superstition. There's no question of superstitious belief in Krishna consciousness. Everything is science, and when we talk about science, it is very clear, and it is science means that is which is tangible, which can be measured, and it can be to some extent experienced, isn't it? When you do an experiment, it is experience. So spiritual life is not dry. When you actually practice the sadhana as per given by the spiritual master, then automatically you have experiences. So, spiritual life, when we are walking the path of spiritual life, we have experiences. So, that is what motivates us to go further more and more in Krishna conscious life. So, that is what is happening to Arjuna. Arjuna has heard so much, he has developed very strong faith, not blind faith, and then he has understood so much about Krishna. So, when you know someone to this degree, then you will develop an attachment. Now, in case of Arjuna, please understand it is a conversation between two friends earlier. Then it turned into a conversation between the spiritual master and the disciple. So it's a conversation. What we are seeing here, Bhagavad Gita, we are trying to understand a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. And here in this conversation, when he has heard so much about Krishna from Krishna himself, then when you know a person so much in detail, then you will get attached to that person. And then in Arjuna's case, it is even more special because he is related to Krishna and he is developing. Already he had love and he had so much. He was a big fan of Krishna, but now after hearing such great things about Krishna, he is even more falling in love with Krishna. So that is very special here. So this is what we need to understand. Very, very special. So here we should understand that it is something that we need to know, that there is so much that just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Sorry for that pause. So when we are discussing, when he has Arjuna has heard so much from Krishna, he has developed love. And this is what happens with all of us. When we hear so much from Krishna, we fall in love with him. And with not blind faith, but with scientific knowledge. So now Arjuna is addressing Krishna here as Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashwatam Divyam, Adidevam, Ajam Vipum. So Param, we will try to understand all these words one by one, but you just see Arjuna is speaking and addressing Krishna as Param Brahma. You are the supreme personality of Godhead. Param Dhama. He is calling Krishna as supreme here. Direct. Now, if Arjuna by any chance was speaking anything wrong, Krishna would have not accepted that. Krishna would have just stopped Arjuna. Hey, Arjuna, wait. You are speaking something wrong. I'm not Param Brahma. I'm not Param Dhama. I'm not Pavitram. He would have directly stopped Arjuna right there. But no, Krishna is listening to all this, not just listening. After all that Arjuna has to speak, Krishna further explains and elaborates on all these different points that Arjuna has expressed for Krishna. That means Krishna, if he was not supreme, he would have stopped Arjuna, number one, and he would not have discussed further on these points. Krishna is the supreme. So he is accepting Arjuna's words as true because he has already conveyed that to Arjuna, and Arjuna is also reconfirming and asserting that yes, Krishna is Param Dhamma, Param Dhama. There is no doubt about it. So this is the challenge to all the Mayavadis who think that the Supreme Brahma is not Krishna. There is someone within Krishna who is the Parabrahma. This is what their understanding is. But here it is very clear Arjuna is hearing directly from Krishna. After hearing all this directly from Krishna, he is addressing so that it is for the benefit of all the people, so that we all understand that he is actually the Parabrahma. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is why Krishna also further elaborates that. But now let us understand what are these different words. So Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Parabrahma. So Krishna, Parabrahma, we have understood that how in the Vedic scriptures there are different ways that the Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is understood, isn't it? There is the aspect of Brahman, there is the aspect of Paramatma, and there is also the Supreme Lord. Absolute truth can be understood in as the Supreme Person. So it is explained by the father of Vyasadeva, Parashar Muni, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdate. So when Arjuna is saying here, Parabrahman, what is this Parabrahman? We should understand this point very clearly. Parabrahman, Brahman is not simply the effulgence, but it is not simply the energy of Krishna, but it is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not just some sort of energy. Why it is not simply some sort of energy? Parabrahman many people can interpret it as energy, but it is not energy. Why? Because It is conscious. And anything that is conscious cannot be simply some sort of energy. Any energy you take, it is mostly impersonal. Energy is there, but it is impersonal. But when any energy that has consciousness, which expresses the feelings, then it has something special. And that can be a living entity, and that can be Lord. Now, Krishna is addressed as Parabrahman. It is not simply Brahman, but it is Parabrahman. We are all Brahman. We are also Brahman, part and parcel of Krishna. We are also Brahman. Why we are Brahman? Because we are conscious. We are not simply some sort of energy. But here Krishna is addressed as Parabrahman. He is the supreme energy, not ordinary energy like us. We are Brahman, but we are minute Brahman. But Krishna is Parabrahman. This is the difference. Krishna is all conscious. We are not conscious of everything. We are conscious only of our own body. But Krishna is all conscious. So, Prabhupada also, in many discussions, he brings out this point that how there are two categories of people. There is one category of people who are called na bhajanti. Na bhajanti means there is, in this verse, there are na bhajanti. That verse refers to those who are out of ignorance, do not worship the Supreme Lord. There are many people who do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Supreme. But now, who are those people? Na bhajanti. Na bhajanti means they are not aware of Krishna. They are not totally aware of the potencies of Krishna, the vibhutis of Krishna. Those people are called what? Na bhajanti. Very important point. So, one is those people who are na bhajanti, out of ignorance, they don't understand Krishna. And there are another category of people where Krishna has already explained, avajananti. Avajananti means they actually know a little bit of Krishna, they know and they are well informed about the supreme position of Krishna, but they still disrespect Krishna. Such people are called avajananti. So, na bhajanti are those people who are unaware of the supremacy of Krishna. There are many people in this world. There are so many people you see. Just walk outside in the market. There are so many people you see. They are not aware that Krishna is the supreme person. Out of ignorance, they neglect Krishna. They don't know about Krishna. They are called na bhajanti. They are not aware. But there are many people who, again, you will come across many people who are aware of Krishna's position. They have heard about Krishna's beautiful pastimes, and they have many understandings of the spiritual life. But still, such people are called avajananti. Why they are called avajananti? Because in spite of knowing Krishna's supremacy, they are disrespectful towards Krishna. Such people are called ignorant candidates. And such people are not fit candidates for the mercy of a pure devotee. See, if a person is na bhajanti, I mean the person who is ignorant, such people can attract the mercy of a pure devotee. It's very easy to attract the mercy of a pure devotee who are na bhajanti, who are ignorant, because it is very clear that they are like empty slates. And spiritual master devotees, when they see them, such ignorant people, they have compassion and they show mercy. But when there are some people who are so called intelligent and they know a little bit of Krishna and they're misinformed about Krishna's pastimes and everything about Krishna, such avajananti people, they do not attract the special mercy of a spiritual master, because the spiritual master also understands that there is no point in explaining to them, because they are simply Vedavadartis. They simply get into debates without coming to any conclusions. They simply, for the heck of debating, they will debate, not for knowledge, because they have that ego, that false ego. They don't want to accept the supremacy of Krishna. So, na bhajanti are the people, avajananti are the people. So, why I'm saying this? Because these Mayavadis, they are to some extent avajanantis. Why? Because they know the Vedas, they read the Vedas, they understand the Vedas, but then they don't want to accept the supremacy of Krishna. But you see, on the contrary, Arjuna is accepting Parabrahma, Paramdhama. This is the difference. So now, next word is param dhama. Dhama means effulgence. Sometimes it is also referred to as complexion. It is also referred to as griha. Griha means it's a home, and it is also referred to as deha. So param dhama, basically all these different things refer to shelter. Dhama means shelter. So the Supreme Lord Krishna is the shelter of everyone. He is the greatest supreme shelter for everyone. Param Dhama. He is the supreme abode, no doubt about it. He is the supreme. The Vaikuntha, the Golok Vrindavana, and Krishna, there is no difference between them. Absolutely no difference between them. Param Dhama. He is called in that sense also Param Dhama. There is no difference between Golok Vrindavana and Krishna himself. But at the same time, what happens in Golok Vrindavana is he gives shelter to his pure devotees. So Param Dhama means he gives shelter, complete shelter to his devotees. And then Krishna is saying Pavitram. Arjuna is saying Pavitram. Pavitra means supremely pure. So Pavitram Bhavan is saying, he's referring to a person. Bhavan means it refers to a person. So that person, Krishna, is Pavitram. He is completely pure. What is pure? That which is unaffected by the three modes of material nature. That is Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Krishna is free from these three gunas. We are not pure because we are affected by these three gunas. So that is why we are not pavitram, completely pavitram. We are pure to some extent. To the degree that we chant and do our sadhana, we become pure. Pure means what? Becoming free from the clutches of these three modes, sattva, rajas, and tamas. That is pavitram. Now, thinking of pure, we become pure. When we constantly think about Krishna, who is pavitram, what happens to us? Our heart becomes pavitram. We are chanting. Chanting means what? We are thinking about Krishna. So what is happening? Our heart is getting purified all the time. We chant, we hear about Krishna, our heart is getting purified more and more. Why? Because he is pure. Many times we have this, many devotees, they get into this idea that, oh, yes, I'm doing my sadhana, I'm doing my chanting. See, because of my sadhana, my tapasya, I'm becoming purified. Because of my sadhana, because of my eating only prasada, because of my chanting, I am becoming pure. You know, that sense of little pride is there that I am becoming pure. No, it is not just because of your sadhana, it is bestowed, that purity is bestowed upon us by the presence of Krishna. So, even for our purity, we are dependent on Krishna. That is how a devotee thinks. He is not thinking independently because I'm becoming pure. No, we are for purity also we are dependent on Krishna. So that is pavitram. So Krishna is Arjuna is addressing Krishna as pavitram here. So very clear, Krishna is param brahma, no doubt about it. His param dhama is a shelter for everyone. At the same time, he's pavitram, pure, and then he is purusham, swadhyam, purusham. Purusham means what? He is a person and he is a controller. Purusham means controller. Very special. He is the controller of his energies. He is the controller of all the energies. Now, primarily, when we talk about the energies of Krishna, there are three types of energies: Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatashta Shakti. Internal and potency, there is external potency, and the marginal potency, marginal Shakti of Krishna. We are marginal Shakti of Krishna. There is Antaranga Shakti, there is Bahiranga Shakti, and there is the marginal Shakti. You know, so we are marginal because sometimes we are falling on the spiritual side, sometimes we are falling on the material side. So we are marginal. Living entities are the marginal Shakti, the Tatashta Shakti. Tatashta means what? Like on the seashore. If you go to the seashore, one side there is ocean, other side there is land, and on the beach, what is on the beach? The beach is Tatashta. Tatashta, it is in between the ocean and the land. So we are in that kind of situation where we are not in the ocean of the spiritual existence. We are not in the land of the material existence. We are Tatashta Shakti. And sometimes we are playing in the ocean. Sometimes we come back again on the earth and we keep playing. So this is what is happening to us. Now when we're talking about Purusha means he has three very important Shaktis. What is that? There is Jnana, Icha, and Kriya Shakti. There is Icha Shakti within the Lord. When we say Purusham, the Lord has Icha. Icha means desires. And He has Jnana, knowledge. And then He has Kriya Shakti. He has the ability to do, perform things. These three things are supposed to be there in a Purusha. What is that? Icha, Jnana, and Kriya Shakti. All these things are important. Now, when the Lord has all these Shaktis, He possesses all these three Shaktis, Icha, Jnana, and Kriya. And when He uses these energies, what happens? He has a anubhava. There is an experience. Krishna has experience. And what is that experiences? Those experiences are divided into three. What are those three experiences? There is Sandini, there is Samvit, and Halladini. Again, these are different experiences or Shaktis of the Lord, expanded Shaktis of the Lord. What is Sandini potency? Sandini means Sat potency. Samvit potency is the knowledge potency, that is the consciousness potency. And then there is the Halladini Shakti, or that experience which gives pleasure to Krishna. So there is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So there is Icha, Jnana, and Kriya Shakti that Krishna possesses, and that gives him Anubhava, that is experiences, and those experiences are Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So much of pleasure is there. So when all these things are combined together within Krishna, and Krishna is experiencing that, so what he does, Krishna, he infuses these energies into his devotees. When his devotees, they experience this wonderful transcendental spiritual potency, this energies within themselves, they want to serve Krishna more and more. And when they serve Krishna more and more, Krishna is again becoming more and more happy, and he's enjoying more and more. You see, it is a give and take kind of a thing. It is very simple process. If we want to be happy, we please Krishna. And what happens when we please Krishna? Krishna in turn infuses this knowledge, wonderful knowledge, into us. So it's continuously happening. All these things are give and take thing that is continuously happening. So that is Purusham. So whenever you hear this word Purusham, it comes to our mind. It should come to our mind that He is the Supreme Person. And Supreme Person who is actually infusing that spiritual knowledge into us. Isn't this so beautiful? Very, very special. So Krishna is glorified in Brahma Samhita. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Brahma is saying, you are Adi Purusha. Oh Govinda, you are Adi Purusha. Purusha, he's saying, when he says Purusha, what should come to our mind? Oh yes, he is the one who infuses that spiritual energies into us. Then here Arjuna is also calling Krishna as Adi Devam. Adi Deva means he is the God of gods. Like Brahma said that you are the Adi Purusha, here Arjuna is also saying that Adi Devam. You are the God of all the gods. There are many gods, right from Brahma to Rudra to Yama, Indra, so many gods, but Krishna is the God of all the gods. Isn't it very, very nice, special? So that is not just here. Krishna is also being addressed as Ajam. Ajam means Ajam. Ajam means unborn. So Krishna is unborn. We are born by because ours is a conditioned soul. Conditioned soul means we are conditioned by the material nature. Now Krishna's body and him, there is no difference between his body and himself. Krishna's soul and Krishna's body is no difference. He is absolute. In the Kurma Purana, there is a very beautiful verse which says, Deha Dehi Vibhoga Yam Nashtreha Nattat Kachit. It says that there is no difference between Krishna's words, Krishna's soul, and Krishna's body. He is absolute. So Ajam. Why is Ajam? Why is he unborn? Because he doesn't have a material body like us. We have a material body, and it is always taking birth and death. But Krishna's body is not like that. We all know how Krishna takes birth. He appears in front of his parents first, and then he takes birth. Very special. We never did like that. Okay, you appeared in front of our parents, and we told our parents, okay, parents, now see, you're going to be my mother, you're going to be my father, I'm going to be born. now you become my parents, and no, nothing like that. But Krishna is very special birth. When he takes birth, he first appears in front of his parents and explains, okay, see, I'm going to be your son. Very special. Now, we should not misunderstand, oh, Krishna is glorified by Arjuna because Arjuna is a dearmost friend. And Arjuna, out of his friendship, he's glorifying Krishna. So many people think like that. Here, Arjuna is calling Param Dharma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, all these different adjectives Arjuna is using for Krishna because he is a great friend. And any friend will do that. So that is why very clearly Arjuna is saying that Ahustvam Rishayas Sarve Devarshir Nardastata Asito Devala Vyasaha Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. So he is very clearly stating that, oh, don't think that it is because out of friendship I am speaking, Arjuna is speaking like this and glorifying his friend Krishna. No, Arjuna is saying all the great sages like Narada, Asita Devala, sometimes it is considered to be two people, but actually in Bhagavatam there is a reference where it is told as he is only one person. Asita Devala is only one person. There are two words used, but actually Asita Devala is one person. And Vyasa, who is, of course, none other than Krishna himself, at the same time is the compiler of all the Vedas, he and all such great personalities, they have the same understanding and the same conclusion that Krishna is the Param Brahma, Param Dhama. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. See, Krishna has himself declared it to Arjuna that Swayam Chaiva Bhavishime. You yourself have told me, oh Krishna, that you are the Supreme. So it is not out of my friendship that I'm speaking like this, but it is out of truth. And that truth, which is not just experienced by me, but experienced by Narada, by Vyasa and Asita Devala, all such great personalities have come to this conclusion. So there is no way that Krishna can be considered as impersonal Brahman, just some sort of energy. No question of that kind of argument here. Very clearly, Arjuna is stating here, Purusham. See, Brahma's own sons, four Kumaras. Brahma, four Kumaras were there, and all these four Kumaras, they were Mayavadis. Can you imagine? Four Kumaras, the sons of Brahma, they are Mayavadis. They never accepted Krishna to be some person. But once when they were traveling, they were meditating, then they got this wonderful fragrance of tulsi, which was emanating from the lotus feet of Krishna in Vaikuntha. They got so attracted by this fragrance. They started following this fragrance everywhere. And finally, they saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then they understood that the Supreme Person is actually Krishna. Right? So, in no way we should consider Arjuna or Krishna to be some ordinary person. He is not an ordinary person. He cannot be. He is not simply an intimate friend of Krishna, but he is stating the references of great rishis. And in fact, Prabhupada also, in the purport, he explains that Kena Upanishad and Mundaka Upanishad confirms the supremacy of the Lord. And they say, all these Upanishads confirm, they come to a point where everything is actually resting. Everything is resting onto the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. There is nothing that is being away from Krishna. It is very special here. It is said that Tasmat Krishna evam paro devasya tam dhyayeta, tam raseta, tam bhajeta, tam yajeta. So very beautiful words that how Krishna has to be realized and understood. Tam dhyayeta, tam raseta, tam bhajeta, tam yajeta. Can you know? I understand. So beautiful. Tasmat Krishna evam paro devasya tam dhyayeta. You should always meditate. Tam raseta. You start relishing Krishna's and Krishna's pastime. Tam bhajeta, constantly glorifying. tam yajeta, and worship Krishna all the time. So karma, many people say, is important. Puja, punuskara, that is not important. Worshipping Krishna, that is not it. That is, the Lord is there in my heart. Puja and all is not important. Karma karo, that is what Bhagavad Gita says. Phal ki ichha mat karo, do only karma. Why worship? Why glorify? Why do chanting and dancing? All the many people say, that's not required. Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, just do karma. But they don't understand that if karma is puja, then what is that puja referring to? Karma is puja of what? If karma is puja, but puja of what? That's why superficial understanding of Bhagavad Gita will not understand. So we have to dhyayat, meditate, raset, we have to understand Krishna, then bhajet, we have to glorify him, and yajet, we have to worship him. This is what can be done. And only person who is actually eligible for such kind of meditation and such understanding and glorification and worship is Krishna, because he is Param Dhama, Param Pavitram, and is Param Brahman. Nobody else is eligible for such glorification. So there are some more things that we will discuss, but Hina Mataji, you can unmute yourself. Let's chant the next verse, that is verse number 14. Okay, this is also a very nice special verse. Sarvam etadritam manye. I think there is some delay.
Prabhuji, I will do it from.
I'll try to unmute you. Okay. Looks like there is some glitch here. So Achyutanji, you can unmute yourself. Yes.
Okay.
Let's chant this verse. Sarvam etadritam manye.
Sarvam etadhritam manye.
Yanmam vadasi Keshava.
Yanamam vadasi Keshava.
Nahi te Bhagavan Vyaktim.
Nahi te Bhagavan Vriktim.
Vidur Devana Dhanava.
Vidur Devana Danavaha.
Let's do that once again. Sarvam etadritam manye.
Sarvam etadhritam manye.
Yanmam vadasi Keshava.
Yanmam vedasi Keshava.
Nahi te Bhagavan Vyaktim.
Nahi te Bhagavan Vriktim.
Vidur Devana Dhanava.
Vidur Devana Danavaha.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
Not yet able to see it. Yeah, okay. O Krishna, I totally accept as true all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, or O Lord, can understand your personality. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, here it is said, Sarvam etat ritam manye janmam vadasi Keshava nahi te Bhagavan Vyaktim vidur devana dhanavaha. So, nobody can actually understand Krishna. Not so easy to understand Krishna, including the demigods and the demons. Nor the devas, nor the danavas, they can understand Krishna. And here, the very special thing is, Arjuna is saying, I accept everything that you have said to be truth, O Krishna. I am accepting Krishna as complete, and whatever he speaks as complete. That's why I think in the very first session of the Bhagavad Gita study circle that we started, I had told also that at least theoretically, we should first come to a conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. At least theoretically, we should know that he is the Supreme Person. Even though we don't know him completely, But at least theoretically, we should come to this conclusion or understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Person. Then, yes, of course, there is a possibility of knowing him completely, isn't it? So, when Arjuna, as long as he was thinking that Krishna is only his friend, he was not knowing things completely. But now, when Arjuna has heard so much, he is accepting Krishna completely, and whatever he speaks as complete. And he is not just stating that, oh, the demigods, not the Danavas, or any one of such great personalities can actually understand you. Now, what to speak of ordinary people like us, when such great personalities cannot understand? We should know that this particular knowledge was spoken by Krishna to sun god, isn't it? Long time in the 4th chapter, Krishna had expressed and he had told that I spoke this knowledge to the sun god earlier. That means what? Before even he spoke to Arjuna, he has already spoken this knowledge to sun god. It means that this person, Krishna, knows many things. Because the times have changed, it's a long time. The universal structures, many times the internal things, many pralayas, this and everything happens, and many things happen up and down all throughout the universe. Things have changed. But this person is aware of everything that has happened in the universe. Because sun is existing from quite some time, very long time, and Krishna has spoken to such a person. Why I'm saying this is because to understand Krishna is not so easy. At the same time, he knows everything about everything in this universe. And when such a person is declaring to Krishna, to Arjuna, and to the whole world that I am the Supreme, I am the person who is controlling all the three Shaktis, the internal, the external, and the marginal. When Krishna is declaring himself to be the Supreme Person, which he has explained in the chapter 7 till chapter 9, and now in 10 also is going to elaborate that, when he himself is stating all these things, then that means he has an authority. We have no way to deny such a fact, deny such a person who is all knowing. We have no choice but to accept the truth as spoken by Krishna. Isn't it? Is there anyone who can declare like this that I am the Supreme Person? Nobody. It's only Krishna who can speak like this. So we just have to sometimes become humble and understand what Krishna is trying to speak. He is speaking about his supremacy not to show it to us that, okay, he's Supreme Person, to make us understand that we are dependent on him. That's why he's speaking about his supremacy. That's very, very important. He is speaking about his supremacy so that we understand our dependency on him. Because anyway, we want to depend on something. We have to depend on something. So why not Krishna, the Supreme Person, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, isn't it? So that's why Krishna is being addressed here as a person, and at the same time, Arjuna is accepting this person as complete, and no devatas, nor the Danavas can understand him completely. Very, very difficult to understand absolute truth, right? So let's see now. We'll go and chant the next verse also. So, Hina Mataji, you can unmute yourself. Let's see if that is possible now.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So let's chant now. Swayam evatmanatmanam
स्वयम् एवात्मनात्मानम्
Vetta tvam purushottama
वेत्ता त्वम् पुरुषोत्तमा
bhuta bhavana bhutesha
भूतभावमभूतेश
deva deva jagatpate.
देवदेव जगत्पते
Again, swayam evatmanatmanam
स्वयम् एवात्मनात्मानम्
Vetta tvam purushottama
वेत्तत्त्वम् पुरुषोत्तमा
bhuta bhavana bhutesha
भूतभावमभूतेश
deva deva jagatpate.
देवदेव जगत्पते
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Hare Krishna.
So wonderful. So very nice words here again. Here, Arjuna is saying, indeed, you alone know yourself by your internal potency. O origin of all, Adideva, you are the Jagatpate, Lord of all the lords, God of all the gods. There's no one knows you completely, but only you can know yourself completely. Now, very special. And Krishna is being addressed here as O Purushottama. Is this see? What is he saying? He's calling Lord as Vettatvam Purushottama. So let us understand this verse very nicely. Now, Krishna is called Purushottama. Why? Because he is Uttama even to the three forms of Vishnu. Many people think that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the supreme. Many other people also think that, oh, it's maybe the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Some people think that it is the Mahavishnu who actually is the supreme person. But here, when we say Purushottama, Arjuna is addressing the Lord as Purushottama. He is Purushottama even to the three forms of the Lord. Which are the three forms of the Lord? The Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Even these three forms are originating from the Supreme Person, that is Krishna. So Krishna is origin of even these three greatest forms who actually control the universes. That is why he is Purushottama. He is Uttama to even the three forms. Now that's why here Arjuna is addressing Krishna in five different names. He is calling him Purushottama. Another meaning of Purushottama is one who is glorified by Uttama Shlokas. He's called Uttama Shloka. Purushottama is also one who is glorified by the wonderful verses by his great devotees. That is Uttama Shloka. But here is Purushottama. Of all the Purushas, he is Uttama. Bhuta Bhavana. The next Krishna, Arjuna is addressing the Lord as Bhuta Bhavana. So Prabhupada also very nicely explains this. He calls that, let us see what Sri Prabhupada is saying, that Bhuta Bhavana means the origin of everything. Prabhupada translates that he is the origin of everything. Bhuta Bhavana. Bhuta means all the living entities, and Bhuta Bhavana means he is the origin of all of us. Completely. He is a complete controller. And then another Bhutesha. Bhutesha means he is also the Isha of all that he has created. So he is not simply the origin of everything, but he is also the master of all that he has originated. He creates everything and he becomes the master of all that. Many times, these days people are creating so many things, artificial intelligence and these chatbots and chat GPTs and so many things. Now it's uncontrollable actually. It's very difficult to control. It's gone to that area where gradually you will see that these machines will not be under the control of these humans. Of course, in some one sense, they can just shut it down, but at the same time, if you really want to control it in real time, it's going to be very difficult. People are going to be heavily influenced by this artificial intelligence. Already we are being influenced. Every time there is a notification that comes on your mobile phone, it beeps. It is actually some way or the other controlling our minds. It has already started its work to control, and now because of this, we wanted to create something good, but at the same time people get so addicted to it and they get into all the wrong direction. People are losing their jobs because of artificial intelligence, and I think going forward it is going to take away many jobs. People are just going to sit idle. It's very dangerous things. We have no control over these things. That once it is released, it's gone. It keeps feeding the machines, it keeps feeding the system, and people think that okay, it's all free, and free means I can use it unlimitedly, but we don't know that we're getting trapped. When somebody is selling you something for free, you should understand that we are getting sold in turn. The product that is sold is ourselves. So when these great technocrats and giants in technology, they are giving and offering something free to us. What is getting sold? Ourselves. Ourselves means what? Our attention is getting sold. Our attention is getting sold, and they are taking advantage of our attention. When we are talking about focusing our attention on Krishna, there is a big war that is going on to take away our attention from Krishna. Just see, there are people who are trying to control. Why they want to control? Because they want to imitate Krishna. Because Krishna is Bhutesha. And they are thinking that, oh, I want to become Bhutesha by artificial intelligence. Just see, this is all going on. They all want to become Bhutesha, but they cannot control. They may create artificial intelligence for some extent. It will all collapse. In the due course of time, everything will collapse. Anything that is man-made will collapse. But in this phase, all the people who get influenced by such temporary things, we will lose an opportunity to focus our attention on Krishna. That shouldn't happen. That's why we should become very intelligent. We should know that nobody is Bhutesha, only Krishna is Bhutesha. And then Deva Deva Jagatpate. Deva Deva means he is the Lord of Lords, he is the God of gods. Jagatpate, he is the Jagatpati. Krishna is uh, someone who is Jagatpati. He is the master of everything. Bhogeshwarya Prasattana. He is master of everything. He is the one who can enjoy everything in this world. That's why Krishna is very inscrutable. You cannot scrutinizingly understand Krishna. It's not possible to understand Krishna. It's just not possible. Very, very difficult to understand him. Very complicated personality he is. Many great yogis, many such great personalities, very difficult for them to understand Krishna. And Krishna does some leelas which are totally difficult to understand. Like, for example, Mahabharata. There is one instance where Krishna is sent as a mediator, as a for a peace proposal between the Kauravas and Pandavas. And Krishna goes as a mediator, and he's trying to convince Duryodhana and party that, okay, let's have peace. Now, does Krishna really wants peace between Kauravas and Pandavas? Ask this question to yourself. He goes as a peace proposal, as a peace proposer, as a mediator, but does he really want peace there? It's very difficult to understand. He doesn't want, because Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, what is he saying? That Paritrana sadhunam, vinashaya dushkritam. I come here to destroy all the dushkritis, isn't it? Now he doesn't want peace, but he's going for a peace proposal. He wants all these people to be destroyed, but he goes for a peace proposal. Very, very difficult to understand him, isn't it? So that's why we should never think that I know Krishna. And no Goswamis, great acharyas have ever proclaimed that I know Krishna. It's very difficult. That's why Krishna, indeed, Arjuna is saying, indeed, it's only you who can understand yourself. Nobody can understand you. That is how Krishna. And of course, there are Rasika Vaishnavas. Rasika Vaishnava means those who are in love with Krishna, deeply in love with Krishna. They are called Rasika Vaishnavas. And they say that only Radhika, that is Srimati Radharani, can understand Krishna. Only she can understand. That's why Arjuna is also saying that by your internal potency, you yourself can understand yourself completely by your internal potency, by the effect of your internal potency. Just see, who is that internal potency? It is referring to Radharani. Although Radharani's name is not taken in the Bhagavad Gita, nowhere in the 700 shlokas Radharani's name is taken, but indirectly here it is addressed that Radharani can understand Krishna. She is the only person who can understand Krishna. Probably even Krishna doesn't know himself, but Radharani knows Krishna very well. This is the speciality. And it's very beautiful. Krishna is so beautiful. Actually, when Krishna is with his friends, the Gopas, he looks very beautiful. And when he sits on the lap of Mother Yashoda, he looks more beautiful. And when Krishna is with the gopis, he is even more beautiful. But when Krishna is with Radharani, he is the most beautiful. You see, his beauty also changes. You cannot say that, okay, Krishna's beauty is like this. No, it cannot be one single way you can describe Krishna's beauty, because when he's with Gopas, his beauty is at one level. But when he is with Radharani, his beauty is another level. So you cannot define him so easily. Oh, Krishna is like this only. We can paint beautifully about Krishna. We can have beautiful deities and all those things. But in actuality, it's very difficult to describe Krishna. He's so beautiful. Every time he's with different people, his beauty increases different. And of course, when he's with Radharani, he is completely beautiful, most beautiful. Actually, once Radharani said, she said to Krishna, she tells Krishna, "Oh Krishna, a heroine can understand the heart of a hero completely, but the hero does not understand the heart of the heroine completely." Now I'm talking in terms of this Bollywood style, but I'm just saying to make it easy for us to understand. So Radharani is saying the heroine can understand the hero completely, but the heart of a heroine is not understood by the hero. So Krishna says, he replies to Radharani and says, "Yes, Radharani, what you said is true, that the hero cannot understand the heroine properly except me. I'm not like the other heroes. I'm different." And Radharani says, "Oh Krishna, you are a liar. You don't understand anything. You don't understand my heart." And in order to understand Radharani's heart, it is not possible for Krishna. That is why he takes the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so that he can understand the heart of Krishna, the supreme heroine of the universe. So to understand Krishna is complicated. To understand Radharani's heart is even more complicated. Very difficult. Even Krishna cannot understand. So in order to understand Krishna's heart, uh, Radharani's heart, Krishna takes the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He cannot understand, "Oh, I am Krishna, I'll understand Radharani's heart." No. For that, you have to become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna has to become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, very, 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 very special. Very, very wonderful this is. So, who else is there today? Okay, Vinodji, you unmute yourself and let's chant the next verse. Okay, so let's go to the next verse. 16th verse. Okay. Vaktum arhasi asheshena
वक्तुम् अर्हसि अशेषेण
divya hi atma vibhutayah
दिव्या हि आत्मविभूतया
याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोकान्
याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोकान्
इमां स्वं व्याप्य तिष्ठति.
इमां त्वं व्यापतिष्ठति.
Wonderful. Once again. Vaktum arhasi asheshena
वक्तुम् अर्हसि अशेषेण
divya hi atma vibhutayah
दिव्या हि आत्मविभूतया
याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोकान्
याभिर्विभूतिभिर्लोकान्
इमां स्वं व्याप्य तिष्ठति.
इमां त्वं व्यापतिष्ठति.
Once again. Beautiful. Please read the translation.
Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. Hare Krishna.
So it's a very straightforward answer here. Arjuna is asking Krishna, "Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds." So let us also chant the next 17th verse also. So Vinodji, you can stay there and let's chant the next verse also. Very beautiful verse. Katam vidyamaham yogim
Katam vidyam aham yogim
Tvam sada parichintayan
tvam sada parichintayam
keshu keshu cha bhaveshu
kesu kesu cha bhaveshu
chintyosi bhagavan maya.
chintoshi bhagwan maya.
Wonderful. Once again. Katam vidyamaham yogim
Katam vidyam aham yogim
Tvam sada parichintayan
tvam sada parichintayam
keshu keshu cha bhaveshu
kesu kesu cha bhaveshu
chintyosi bhagavan maya.
chintoshi bhagwan maya.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
O Krishna, O supreme mystic, how shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered? O supreme personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. So, in the 16th verse, he asks about, please explain to me all the different opulences that through which you actually pervade the whole universe. He's asking that. At the same time, in this next verse, 17th verse, Krishna, he's been asked by Arjuna, oh, Krishna, you are the supreme mystic. How shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? See, this is a very important question. And Krishna is actually wanting all of us to meditate on him all the time. Now, Arjuna is asking, how can I meditate upon you? What are the different various forms on which I can meditate upon you? See, this is exactly our questions. So, very important, we should know these things because Arjuna is asking these questions on our behalf. So, these are very important things. So, let's understand one by one now. And how can I remember you all the time? Oh, you are the Supreme Personality. Got it. Very special. So, now here, let us go through this 17th verse, very important verse. Krishna is explaining to all of us that Arjuna is calling Krishna as a yogi. Krishna is addressed here as Aham Yogim. Why is Arjuna calling Krishna as a yogi? Is he a yogi? If Krishna is Parabrahma, but here he is actually calling him as a yogi. Just the 2 words before, he actually called him as Parabrahma, Paramdhama. Now he's calling him as yogi. Why is he calling Krishna a yogi? He's calling Krishna as yogi because he is the master of Yogamaya energy. Krishna is the master of the Yogamaya. Please understand, very, very important. In Sanskrit and most Indian languages, when we address a person, sometimes we address him with the things that he possesses. You know, sometimes in the temple when there is devotee, there are devotees who are serving us something. Okay, there are different items that will be served, and there is one person who is serving the gulab jamun, and he goes little further without serving you. Then what do you say? Hey, gulab jamun, come here. You know, you don't know his gotra, you don't know his name, nothing. You call him, hey, gulab jamun, come here, please. Isn't it easy? Gulab jamun, or his name is gulab jamun? No, isn't it? He's not gulab jamun, but you call him gulab jamun. Similarly, if somebody is serving some sambar or of course anything, or pizza, or anything, and he just goes away. You call, hey, pizza, come here. Or morning, you know, when the vendors are coming, and the vegetable vendors are coming, and he's calling out, okay, vegetable, hey, tarkari le lo, vegetable le lo, vegetable le lo. And then you call out, hey, vegetable wala, hey, vegetable, aa jao. Or you say, oh, hey, mango, please come here. Sometimes we say, no. Or sugar cane wala is going, hey, sugar cane, you come here. Is he a sugar cane? Is he a mango? No. You address that person as gulab jamun or sugar cane or whatever because he possesses that, isn't it? Many times, you know, when the daughter comes back to Maika, to her mother's place, you know, the mother will ask, oh, my dear daughter, you know, is are you listening to your mother-in-law and your husband properly and executing things as they are telling you? Now, this was in Satyuga. Of course, times have changed now. The mothers will ask the opposite question. They'll ask, is the mother-in-law and the husband listening to your words? This is Kali Yuga. So this is how the mothers will ask. And what will the daughter say? The daughter will say, oh, what to say, my mother? Ghar pura sirf. You know, she'll say that घर पूरा सिर्फ सासू माँ ही है, सासू माँ ही पूरा घर है. What does it mean? सासू माँ ही पूरा घर है. Does it mean that the doors and the windows is the sasuma? No, ghar pura sasuma hai means, it means that whatever she says, the sasuma says, that is what actually happens in the home. This is what it means, isn't it? The mother also understands, the daughter also understands when she says like that, Sasumai pura ghar hai, right? So why Krishna is addressed here as, oh, you are a yogin or yogi, because he is the master of all the mystic yogas. Correct? So that is why we have to understand that he is not simply some yogi like modern yogis are there, many yogis are there. Krishna is not one of those kind of yogis. He is not simply a yogi. He is addressed as a yogi. Okay? So that is one very important thing that we should know. And Krishna, when all these things are explained, Arjuna is now indicating something even more higher. What is that even more higher? He is gone mad. Now he wants to know more about Krishna. That is very clearly expressed in the 18th verse, and this is the verse he will stop speaking after 18th verse, and he wants to know more about Krishna. So, Dave, you can unmute yourself. Let's chant the 18th verse also. Okay, let's chant the 18th verse. Very important, and this is the last verse which is spoken in this section. Vistarenatmano yogam
Vistarenatmano yogam
vibhutim cha janardana
vibhutim cha janardana
bhuya katayat triptirhi
bhuya kataya triptirhi
shrinvato nasti me mritam.
shrinvato nashti me mritam.
Once again, vistarenatmano yogam
Vistarenatmano yogam
vibhutim cha janardana
vibhutim cha janardana
bhuya katayat triptirhi
bhuya kataya triptirhi
shrinvato nasti me mritam.
shrinvato nashti me mritam.
Wonderful. Please read the translation.
O Janardana, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. Hare Krishna.
Ah, so wonderful. Just see, so beautiful, Krishna. Arjuna is saying here, Vistarenatmano yogam. Now, you explain in detail to me about all these things. Vibhutim cha janardana, bhuya katayat triptir, shrinvato nasti me mritam. So, very, very beautiful and important words, because Arjuna is in conversation with Krishna. Now, here he has briefly heard about the opulences of Krishna before, all till 9th chapter. Briefly, here in bits and pieces, Krishna has explained about the bigger aspects of his own personality. But now he wants to know in detail about these things, about the vibhutis of Krishna. Vibhuti means opulences of the Lord, in detail. I want to hear Vistarenatmano. I want to know everything in detail. Oh Krishna, please explain to me. Now, this is the nature of the pure devotee. Now, one very important thing we should know about this verse is that here there is a word. Krishna is addressed as Janardana. Krishna is addressed here as Janardana. What does this mean? Jana means people. Ardhana means distress. So one who takes away or removes the distress of people is called Janardana. So Arjuna is addressing Krishna here as Janardana. Why? Many times he's called as Madhusudana or Keshava, but in this particular verse he's calling as Janardana, because Jana means people, Ardhana means distress. Arjuna was hearing about Krishna's opulences continuously. And as he was experiencing and hearing the glorifications of Krishna from Krishna's lotus mouth, he was experiencing Amrita. He was in joy. But after speaking the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, Krishna stopped. And the flow of that Amrita stopped. And when that flow of Amrita stopped, Arjuna is in distress. Arjuna is feeling that distress. Oh, I was hearing the nectar. And now that has stopped. That is why Arjuna is saying, "Oh Janardana, please remove that distress from me now. I want to hear more in detail about you." This is the nature of pure devotees. This is the speciality of Arjuna. This is a quality of a pure devotee, a symptom of a pure devotee. He wants to hear more about Krishna. And he's requesting Krishna, "You please start speaking again. I want to know everything in detail." So, simply randomly, Arjuna is not calling out him as Janardana, Madhuna, Madhusudana, Keshava. Every word, every name of Krishna has meaning to it and in a proper context. And see, in a proper context, Arjuna is addressing appropriately, "Oh Janardana." Why is he calling? Because you please remove my distress. Already he's feeling that distress. The whole conversation of Bhagavad Gita happened in just maybe 25 minutes to 45 minutes, in that range. But in that few minutes, when he was relishing so much and it was stopped, Arjuna is saying, "I want to hear more." And good he asked this question. He's asking this question so that we can hear more about Krishna, so that there is no more confusion. Even if there are any more doubts, Krishna will clear that. Good, Arjuna is asking this question to explain, asking Arjuna, Krishna to explain more about himself so that we know more about him. If Arjuna would have said, "Okay, I have understood everything, all absolute truth, you are the Parabrahma, everything, now it's all over, okay, let's go and fight. I'm convinced that oh no, he's not satisfied. He wants to hear more now in detail." That is the beauty. That is what we have to catch. And this is the nature of the devotees. And you see, when all these people, great rishis, also assembled in the Naimisharanya forest, Naimisharanya, where Sutta Goswami was explaining, all the rishis were there, which were all headed by Shaunaka Rishi. And in that situation, Bhagavatam very beautifully explains the very same intent of pure devotees. It is said that Vayantu na vitrapyama uttama shloke vikrame yashrinvatam rasajnanam swadu swadu pade pade. So beautifully it is said that Vayantu na vitrapyama. What does this mean? One can never be satiated even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna. See, never be satiated. Just like Arjuna is saying, "I'm not satiated." After hearing so much, I'm not at all satiated. Now, the great rishis have heard Bhagavatam for many days. They are not satiated. Now, how can Arjuna, with few minutes of talks of Krishna, can be satiated? He wants to know more. He wants to know more. The question is, now, are all of you also feeling the same thing? "Oh, Prabhu, Krishna is not speaking." If probably Krishna was speaking, we would have felt the same thing. But you are not Krishna. You're not speaking well about Krishna. So how can we know about you now? How can we get satiated? We are feeling satiated enough, Prabhu. Bhagavad Gita already 10 chapters now. Let's finish this 18 chapters as soon as possible. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves is, are we feeling satiated? We should not feel satiated because none of these devotees are feeling satiated. They are not feeling satisfied after even hearing so much. Then he said, Uttama Shloke, this guy told you, those who have entered into the transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. Swadu Swadu, Pade Pade, every step they want to relish. Swadu Swadu, they want to relish. What they want to relish? Yash Srinvatam Rasajnanam. They want to understand the different rasas of Krishna's pastimes. Isn't it so beautiful? They want to know more and more. And that is the mood of all the gopis. All the gopis are constantly glorifying and hearing, and they, in fact, in the Gopi Gita, there is a very beautiful verse which explains the same thing again. Just like Arjuna's feeling, Arjuna is nothing but he's expressing the feelings of the gopis. What did the gopis say in the Bhagavatam? He says, Tavakatamratam tapta jivanam kavibiriditum kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Grinanti Ye Bhurida Janaha. So beautifully they are saying, what is that? Tava Katamratam. Katamratam means what? The nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. Tava Katamratam Tapta Jivanam. Tapta Jivana means all those who are suffering in this material world. These descriptions are the life and soul. So if you really want to not suffer in this material world, then what are we supposed to do? Tavakatamritam, Tapta Jivanam. We have to make hearing of Krishna as life and soul. Then what is further they are saying? Tavakatamritam Tapta Jivanam. Kavibiriditum Kalmashapaham. These narrations transmitted by Kavibiriditum, great sages, eradicate one's sinful reactions. Kalmashapaham. Kavibiriditum Kalmashapaham. And what do they do? When all the kalmashas are gone, they bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. Very beautiful. Kavibiriditum Kalmashapaham. Shravanamangalam Srimadatadam. Shravanamangalam. These narrations are to be broadcasted everywhere, all throughout the world. Prabhupada did this. He took Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and broadcasted this whole thing to the whole world, which is now filled and getting filled with spiritual power. Shravanamangalam Srimadatatam. Bhuvi Grinantiye Bhurida Janaha. And those who spread this Bhurida Janaha, Bhurida Jana means those who are constantly immersed in talking about Krishna and who are hearing about Krishna, who are spreading this message of Godhead are the most munificent. They are the Bhurida Janaha. Anyone who is doing this, Bhurida Janaha. So you become a listener, you become a speaker about these wonderful pastimes. So by doing so, what are we doing? The most munificent people. We are trying to become the most munificent people in the world. So this is the mood of the gopis. The mood of the gopis is now experienced by Arjuna, and Arjuna is saying, I want to know more. Please explain me more and more. So, Vistarenat Mano Yogam, Vibhutim Cha Janardana. I'm in distress now. Please take out that distress. Bhuya Kataya Triptirhi Srinmato Nasti Me Mritam. This Amrita which was flowing has stopped. I want to hear more and more. Please explain to me further. So, these are some beautiful things that Arjuna has asked, and Arjuna is in distress. He wants to know more. Earlier, he was in distress because of seeing his family members. Now the situation has changed. Now he is in distress because the nectar of Krishna's pastime and his glories has stopped. Just see how the change has happened, the whole transformation of his heart. This will happen to us also. Initially, when we're all facing problems, we get bogged down by these problems. But when you hear Krishna's Bhagavad Gita, then our distress will be transformed from the material distress to spiritual distress. The spiritual distress is, I want to know more. That is distress. And this is a good distress. I think anybody who gets into this kind of distress, he will never be depressed in his life. He doesn't need any psychiatrist because he knows that Krishna is the supreme psychiatrist. He can treat all our mental problems through Bhagavad Gita. So these are few things that we have discussed today. Now Arjuna has put forward his realizations, his experiences, he has glorified, and then now he wants to know more about Krishna's opulences. That Krishna will explain in the next verses. Any questions?
Prabhuji, can you tell us about Brahmotsav? What is it exactly?
Brahmotsava is a festival which is organized by Brahma himself. So, whenever there is a temple of the Lord built, Lord Vishnu's temple is built, Brahma is very happy, and the first Brahmotsava was celebrated and organized by Brahma himself. So, whenever the Lord appears and performs certain pastimes in a specific temple or in a specific place, Brahmotsava is being celebrated in those temples. Especially in South India, it's very famous. Every South Indian temple, Vishnu temple, they celebrate Brahmotsava, which means to say that Brahma himself has celebrated the particular pastime of that particular form of the Lord. And so, when Brahma, the presiding, he is the most supreme demigods among all the demigods, right? So when he comes and he is celebrating, everyone, the whole entourage of devatas, they also come and participate. So yesterday, you will see if you watch the recorded videos, beautifully it was celebrated. Brahmotsav is a very, very special uh, festival where the Lord in different alankaras is carried in different vahanas. There will be Gaja Vahana, there is Garuda Vahana, there is Hanmad Vahana, there is Mahapallaki. So there are different vahanas of the Lord, Hamsa Vahana. There are different vahanas in which the Lord is carried in different forms. Sometimes the Lord is adorned as Sita Ram, Lakshman Hanuman, and then he's Rajgopala, he's Radha Vrindavaneshwara. So even he's dressed as Mohini Avatara. So very beautiful, different alankaras are done. If you watch these videos, different videos, you will understand many details. And then it's a 12-day long festival. The final, the Brahmarata is one special day. Out of these 12 days, there is a day called Brahmarata Day. Brahmarata is a day when the stapana of the deities is happened in the temple. So the day on which the deities are installed is called the Brahmarata Day, very special day. That's a birthday of the deities on that particular place. So Brahmarata, the Lord is carried in the Brahmarata, carried by his devotees. And then, of course, in Brahmosava, there will be a lot of festivities, and especially there are a lot of cultural events, like there are dance programs and different beautiful uh, traditional dances that take place. And the after Brahmarata, the next day will be Churna Abhisheka, that which happened the day before yesterday, Churna Abhisheka, where all the presiding deities of the temple are given complete Abhishekam, all the deities simultaneously. It happens only once in a year that all these deities receive Abhishekam simultaneously. And then, of course, yesterday it was the final day, which is the Mahaprakshana, Samprakshana that happens. Dwaja Avarana. On the first day, the Garuda flag is hoisted. On the final day, the Garuda flag is brought down. And then all the holy waters is sprinkled on the devotees. It's like a holy, and everybody takes a dip in the pond. In the Kalyani, generally South Indian temples have the Kalyani, the pond, and everybody takes the dip in the pond because the Lord has taken the dip in the boat festival. There is a boat festival, and then everybody takes the dip in the holy waters. So this is Brahmotsava. Very, very beautiful, very special.
Thank you, Guruji.
So next time, probably next year, you can all plan to visit Bangalore and attend this Brahmotsava. It will be a lifetime experience. It is very thrilling experience. Brahmotsava, the Kirtan, it's very ecstatic, very amazing experience it is.
Yes, Prabhu.
Good. Any other questions? All right. There are a few other things that I need to discuss. I will call all of you sometime later. And please take care until then. We'll meet again next Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.